Hi, Stamping Friends. It's Sherry Parker coming to you live on Wednesday, February 11th. Hope you're having a wonderful week. It is the week of Valentine's Day. I hope you'll be celebrating this weekend, whether with your friends or a loved one, whatever the case might be. Hope you have a great weekend. Got a fun project tonight. It's a craft along, and we are going to be making a card keeper with 2 cards that we'll put on the inside. So hopefully you had a chance to look at all the materials and get everything ready, because I would love it if you made this with me. I think it'd be an awesome gift. And of course, it's something you can replicate with any paper combinations that you want. And really, it's a nice gift idea. So I'm gonna turn my camera around and we'll get started. Okay, I have posted this a couple times just to give people visibility into what this is, but it's essentially a card keeper and a really cute little giftable that you can fill with a number of cards and envelopes and give to somebody as a thank you, just something small, a little token of appreciation, a little birthday gift or something. So I think it's a wonderful thing just to have to give to a friend. So we're going to be making this tonight, and earlier this week I posted all the measurements. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, go right ahead, but essentially it has all the materials that you'll need, and here's the card keeper along with the 2 cards. All right, so we will get started. Hopefully you have that, and again, you can use any designer series paper. Hi, Ruth. Oh, absolutely. And that's the beauty of this. You can watch this video later, and it will also be on my YouTube channel, so you can always craft along later on when it's more convenient for you. But I also posted a picture of all the measurements in a visual format too, because sometimes it helps just to kind of see what we're talking about. And I picked the Lovely and Beautiful Designer Series paper as the accent for my card keeper, but use what you have because you'll be using up scraps, which is great. It's a great use of your paper. So these are all the measurements. I'm gonna put these aside. This is for the cards. And then these items here are for the card keeper. So the first thing you're gonna need to do is start with a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, okay? I have fresh freesia. That's the color that I picked, just one of the accent colors. And first thing you're gonna do, if you remember, on our little measurement sheet, we're going to score on the long side at 5.5, and then we're gonna rotate it on the short side. We're gonna score at 1 3/4. So we'll go ahead and put it in my paper trimmer on the long side, score at 5.5. Hi, Felicia. And then on the short side, score at 1 3/4, okay? So you put 2 score lines in there. And then next you're gonna just fold on the lines. It's like you're almost making a giant card. All right, so this is the flap that will hold your cards. What you'll wanna do is take a pair of scissors, or you can also use your paper trimmer, and you're gonna cut right up to the intersection of your score lines, okay? So I've cut up there. And then because we're gonna be folding it, it really helps if you just trim at an angle ever so slightly. And this will prevent the cardstock from bunching up when you fold it. Believe me, I've done that before and then it looks kind of yucky. So that just gives it the opportunity to fold nicely. So we're gonna just kind of crease it here with our bone folder. And one last thing we'll do before we decorate it is there will be a ribbon that goes around. And sometimes I forget to do this step, so that's why I thought I would just do it kind of first here. So I trimmed about 32 inches of ribbon. This is a retired organdy ribbon that we had. And hi, Joyce, find the middle, and that's going to basically go on the spine of your card holder. So I'm gonna just tie that just kind of in place like that. Okay. I'm all thumbs. All right, and then we'll decorate it because sometimes I forget to do that. And then I have to go back and do it later. All right, so to decorate the face of this card keeper, the next thing we're gonna do is cut a piece of cardstock, and I selected white, but you'll cut it at 5¼ by 6½. So I've got that right here, and again, I chose white, and I also wanted to run this through an embossing folder. So this is a new 3D embossing folder. It's called Lovely Stripes, and I'm gonna just put my white paper in there, and I'm gonna run it through my emboss machine. I do it off to the side because it tends to really shake my camera, but there you go. So you can see that's just a nice lined sheet of cardstock. And then we will go ahead and adhere that to the front of our card keeper. And I hope everyone makes one of these. I would love, love, love to see your finished product. All right, so again, you can use any color you want. I picked white just to give it a little contrast, and I'm gonna use some Designer Series paper to decorate. I've got a little piece here that measures 3 by 4. Isn't this paper so pretty? And then to back it up, this piece of petal pink is 3¼ by 4¼ So it just layers real easily like that. So you can decorate it how you want. But I like to use scraps of Designer Series paper because it's such a great way to use it up. You can use big pieces, but then you're always left with a few skinny strips or whatnot, so it's a good way to use it up. All right, I'm going to pop this up using dimensionals. Of course, what would a card or a project be without Stampin' Dimensionals? Hi, Sheila. So glad you all could join tonight. All right, I'm gonna put this to center that as best I can. And then I want this to be just kind of a generic gift. You could have it say happy birthday or something if you wanted. But I've got a strip of white cardstock here, and I'm gonna stamp the sentiment just a note. Like that. And then I'm gonna use the new 3-banner punch, which has become my new favorite. So versatile. I'm gonna punch that out. And then I'm gonna offset it just slightly. And I'm gonna put a dimensional on one side and adhesive on the other side. And you probably know why I'm doing that, but because I raised this up, I want this to be the same level. So I raised it up on the left and then I just taped it down on the right. And then our last thing we'll do for the cover here is take some embellishments, you know, use the gems and stuff that you have. Got so much stuff on this table. And I will just grab some gems. I think I just kind of put them randomly on the Designer Series paper. You could even put it on the outside, really wherever you like. I like to do it in 3s. Okay, and then the next thing we'll do is we'll open it back up and decorate the flaps. And we have these 2 strips of Designer Series paper that are 1 3/8 by 5 1/8, and you need 2 of those. And those will just adhere on either side. So you can get your adhesive. I have a black lab and she is shedding like crazy right now. I just keep finding her fur everywhere. It's so funny. You go through these phases. I guess it's been so cold and then it's finally starting to warm up here. All right, so and then that's where you're gonna tuck your cards in, okay? So we can set our card keeper aside, and next we'll make our cards. Oh, one other little thing, and this is optional. I want to tack my ribbon down just because I don't want to have like have it flop everywhere, so I'm just gonna tack it down with a piece of my Stampin' Seal on the back. Okay, we are gonna set that aside, and next we're gonna focus on the cards. So the 2 cards that we'll be making look like this. It's a very simple formula. I've shown it before, maybe a year or 2 ago. I feel like it's always a success, regardless of what papers you use and everything. Simple card, of course, but very, very cute. So they're both the same layout, and I've cut 2 card bases here. So one is Fresh Freesia and one is Petal Pink, and they're 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, and I've scored them down the middle at 4 1/4. So there's our 2 card bases. And for the front of those cards, what you'll need is a 3 by 3 square for each card of Designer Series paper. You'll need a white piece that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 for each one of these. And then they layer again on a piece of colored cardstock, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So you'll need 2 of those, so 2 of everything, okay? Now, of course, you can make 4 cards. I think it would be nice to maybe put 4 cards on the inside of one of these, but certainly you could do as few or as many as you wanted. So I'm gonna put my Designer Series paper on the top of my white rectangle. And before I do anything else, I'm gonna stamp my greeting. And from the banner sayings, I've got some really cute sentiments. This one says, wishing you good things. And this one says, consider yourself hugged. You could just do simple thank yous. You could even do a monogram, which I think was in this card here. So if you didn't want to put an actual sentiment, you could personalize it for someone. So I wanted to show you that. These I just went ahead and stamped, and then next we will adhere to the next layer. But first, I'm going to use some of my fake faux velvet ribbon and just kind of tuck it around like this. And I really think this is a great way to use your ribbon because you're not wasting any. So I tend to do this a lot for my cards. And then I will layer this onto the Petal Pink. We'll do the same thing for this card. Hopefully you're following along okay. And thank you, Sheila. And if you are having any trouble, please just say so in the comments, because this is meant to be interactive. I would love for you to make this with me. And if you have any questions, please, please, please really ask me. And if you do end up making these, I really hope you'll share in the comments, because I would love to see the combinations that you use. All right, so I've got my velvet ribbon here, and then I'm gonna just tie a little knot to make it a fake bow here. Again, it helps to conserve your ribbon, because we all wanna do that. And if you're not a fan of tying bows, this is a way to kind of, do something else so you don't have to tie a bow. I like to tie bows, but not everybody does. I get it. All right. So there's our fronts. My tail's a little uneven, so we'll trim that off. And then our next thing will be to add some embellishments similar to what we did on the cover. Oops. Put one here. I'm just scooping them everywhere, aren't I? Oh, I even have one of these little Petal Pink guys stuck on my hand. All right, and then we'll do the same over here. So decorate it how you want, of course, with as many or as few embellishments, or maybe no embellishments. Not everyone likes the bling bling. Okay, So last step will be to adhere to our card front. And I'm going to do opposites color-wise. And again, I will use Stampin' Dimensionals because it just adds a little bit of dimension, hence the name, to your projects. But I also like how it makes cards look. It just kind of gives it that nice raised effect. And then last, we'll do it on this one. Our snow is finally starting to melt here in Ohio. Thankfully, we had so much snow there for a while. Okay, so there's our 2 cards. So remember, you will go ahead and you'll put them into your card keeper with an envelope. I would probably do 4 cards just because I think it can hold it easily and fold up nicely, and it's not too bulky. So I think it makes a nice, really nice gift. Thank you, Joyce. I did want to show you one that I made using a different designer series paper. This one is using Thoughtful Journey, which has been around for a while. I really do like that paper a lot. But the same concept, and just using your designer series paper for the cards, and it makes a really nice gift. So wanted to share that with you, and I hope you liked this project, and I hope you make it. And anyone who does make it and comments and puts a picture of what they make in the comments will get a prize from me next week. So I would really, really love to see what you come up with. Okay, so we will move on to drawing for last week's cards. So if you happen to tune in, we made these 2 watercolor cards, basically using watercolor paper with our ink refills and the water painters. And then for the focal point, we did a die cut, and then we also did a stamp embossed image. So 2 different ways to achieve that look. So everyone who comments on and shares my videos every week, you're automatically entered to win. So first card is going to go to Angie Burke. You will get that one. And then the second card goes to Marion Henrick, who I think I'm going to see this weekend. We have a group meeting, so I can give that to you, Marion, in person. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. I really do appreciate you watching and tuning in every week and sharing what you create as well. So always a lot of fun for me to see what you are up to. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Valentine's Day, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.